Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a one-story video from the subreddit Pro Revenge with 3 full updates, start to finish, full closure, and this one, I'm not gonna lie, this one made me set my phone down and just nod slowly for about 30 seconds, like a proud uncle at a graduation. Timestamps are below if you need them, but I'd ride this one straight through. Now let's get into it. This post is from the subreddit Pro Revenge and it's by a user we'll call Owen. Post posted to r/pro-revenge. My girlfriend told everyone I was temporary until her career took off. I didn't confront her, I just helped her transition. She returned to a house that wasn't hers anymore, accounts closed, and a note saying good luck going solo. Her panic came fast. Throwaway because people in this story are still very much active on social media and I don't need the inbox explosion. This is also long, real long, but the payoff's worth it. My girlfriend of 4 years called me her placeholder to her friends, her coworkers, and apparently her entire LinkedIn network at some point. She described me as temporary stability while she figured out her real life. I found out about all of it. I didn't confront her, I didn't yell, I just quietly helped her get exactly what she said she wanted, a life without me in it. She just didn't expect it to happen on my schedule. I'm Owen, 33, outside Richmond, Virginia. I'm an HVAC technician, commercial and residential. If your building is 96 degrees in August or your furnace dies on Christmas Eve, I'm the guy they call. I've been doing this since I was 20. Started as an apprentice, got my journeyman license at 23, master cert at 27. It's good work. Physical, problem solving, every system is different and every building has its own personality, which sounds weird, but if you've ever traced ductwork through a 70-year-old building, you know exactly what I mean. I make good money, not flashy money, the kind where you can pay your bills, save, and not panic when something breaks. I've always been careful with finances, got a budget tracker I've kept since I was 21. My buddy Dominic thinks that's obsessive. I think being broke is worse. Dominic matters in this story. Remember his name. We grew up on the same street, 3 houses apart. He's a plumber now, runs his own outfit, 3 trucks, a couple guys working for him. Started from nothing, same as me. Solid dude. The kind of friend who shows up with a truck when you need to move and doesn't ask why. We eat lunch together probably twice a week at this sandwich place halfway between our job sites. He gets the same thing every time. Italian sub, extra peppers, bag of chips. We're both creatures of habit. That's probably why we get along. He also records everything. Every invoice, every text, every conversation that might matter later. Got that habit from a lawsuit a client tried to pull on him 3 years ago. Homeowner claimed Dominic's crew damaged a floor they never even touched. He won because he had documentation going back 18 months. Photos, time-stamped messages, signed walkthrough sheets. Since then, his whole philosophy is, if it's not written down, it didn't happen. And he got me doing the same thing, which turned out to be the single most important habit of my entire life. I eat the same lunch every day at work. Turkey on wheat, bag of pretzels, an apple, water bottle. My coworker Paul calls it the saddest meal in Virginia. Paul eats gas station hot dogs and energy drinks for lunch, so I don't really take nutritional advice from him. But it works. Don't have to think about it. Jess. Met her at a friend's cookout about 4.5 years ago. She was finishing a business degree part-time while working at an insurance agency. Smart, ambitious, had this energy about her like she was always thinking 3 steps ahead. I liked that. She seemed like someone who had her stuff together and knew where she was going. We started dating and things moved fast. She was easy to be around at first. Laughed at my dumb jokes, seemed to actually respect what I did. She'd say stuff like, I love that you work with your hands, and it's nice being with someone who's not trying to be something they're not. I took those at face value. Shouldn't have. About a year in, she moved into my house. My house. I bought it at 26, a 3-bedroom fixer on a quiet street. The kind of place that looks rough when you buy it, but has good bones if you know what to look for. I knew. Paid $168,000, below market because it needed everything. I did all the work myself, every bit of it. New HVAC system, obviously. I'm literally a licensed technician, wasn't about to pay someone else for that. Rewired the panel, redid the kitchen cabinets, built a deck off the back with cedar planking, refinished the hardwood floors myself over a long weekend that turned into 3 weekends because the dining room had about 4 layers of old finish that had to come off, built a bed frame out of reclaimed oak as a project one winter, spent about $35,000 in materials over 2 years. All labor was free because the labor was me. The house appraised at $290,000 after renovations. I owed $128,000 on the mortgage, nearly $160,000 in equity, most of it from my own hands. That mattered to me. A house I bought beat up and turned into something real. Jess moved in and the deal was simple. She'd pay $600 a month toward household expenses, groceries, utilities, that kind of thing. I covered the mortgage, insurance, property tax, maintenance. She was making less than me, so it seemed fair. She never complained. I never questioned it. What I didn't know was what was happening behind my back. How I found out. About 8 months ago, Jess got a job offer, regional coordinator position at a bigger insurance firm. Better title, better pay, better benefits. She was excited. I was genuinely happy for her. Took her out to dinner to celebrate. She deserved it. She'd been grinding on that degree while working full-time, and I'd watched her study at the kitchen table until midnight, more times than I could count. The new job meant a 6-week training period in Charlotte. She'd be staying in a company-provided apartment during the week and coming home on weekends. Fine. I've done long-distance service calls. I get it. Sometimes the work takes you somewhere. Here's where it gets bad. About 3 weeks into her training, Jess left her laptop open on the kitchen counter when she came home for the weekend. She was in the shower. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for the recipe she'd saved for the chili we were making that night. Opened the browser, and her email was right there. I should have closed it. I know that. But there was a thread with the subject line, "Drinks tonight?" from a name I didn't recognize, some guy named Corey, and something about it just made me stop. I read it. Then I read more. Then I couldn't stop reading. The emails with Corey were friendly, flirty, nothing physical that I could see, but the tone was way past professional. "Can't wait to see you tonight" type stuff. "You're the best part of this whole training thing." He was calling her future CEO, and she was eating it up. But the emails weren't the problem. The group chat was. Jess had a group chat with 4 of her friends. I found it in her messages app. And in that chat, going back months, way before Charlotte, she talked about me. Not like a girlfriend talks about her boyfriend, like a project manager talks about a temporary vendor. Owen's fine for now, but let's be honest, he's not endgame material. Once I get this coordinator role, I can start actually building my real life. Owen's just the stability phase. He's a nice guy, but I'm not going to be an HVAC wife forever, lol. I need someone who matches where I'm going. He literally fixes air conditioners for a living. It's fine for now, but come on. And the one that just, I still feel it in my chest when I think about it. Owen is my placeholder. Comfortable, reliable, pays for everything, but temporary. Always was. Placeholder. She called me her placeholder. 4 years, living in my house, eating food I paid for, sleeping in a bed I built the frame for. I literally built the bed frame out of reclaimed oak as a project one winter, and I was her placeholder. I sat on the kitchen floor for maybe 20 minutes reading through that chat. Every message worse than the last. Her friends responding with laugh emojis and "girl, you deserve better" and "just write it out until you're set." Nobody pushed back. Nobody said, "Hey, maybe this guy who's supporting you while you get your degree deserves better than being called temporary." Not one of them. There was also a thread about the house. Jess had asked her friend Kayla, casually, like she was asking about a restaurant, whether she'd have any claim to the house if things ended. Kayla said probably not since her name wasn't on anything. Jess responded, "Ugh, 4 years and nothing to show for it. I should have pushed harder to get on the deed." She wanted my house that I bought and renovated with my own hands before I ever met her. She was trying to figure out how to take a piece of it on her way out the door. I closed the laptop. She came out of the shower, I made the chili, we ate dinner and watched a movie, and she fell asleep on my shoulder. And the whole time, I was running numbers in my head. What she owed, what was mine, what I needed to protect. Diesel engines don't lie to you. Neither do HVAC systems. Something's broken, you diagnose it, you fix it. This couldn't be fixed, but it could be handled. Called Dominic the next morning, told him everything. He listened for a long time. Then, how much of your stuff is tangled up with hers? That's Dominic, straight to the math. Edit. People saying I should have confronted her right there? Nah. What would that accomplish? She'd cry, apologize, promise to change, and then keep doing exactly what she was doing, but more carefully. Silence was the play, trust me. Edit 2. Yeah, I know I shouldn't have read her messages. I was looking for a chili recipe. Life comes at you fast sometimes. Owen is my placeholder. Comfortable, reliable, pays for everything, but temporary. She typed that. With her fingers. On a phone that Owen probably pays the bill for. While living in a house Owen built with his bare hands. Sleeping in a bed frame he made out of reclaimed oak. Reclaimed oak. The man builds furniture, and she's calling him a placeholder. Honestly, I've read a lot of these stories, and that one hit different. But Owen didn't lose it. He called Dominic, and Dominic asked about the math, which means it's about to get very organized and very bad for Jess. Let's keep going. Update 1, posted 3 weeks later. Update, my girlfriend called me her placeholder. I didn't confront her. I started untangling everything instead. Quick recap for newcomers. Girlfriend of 4 years was calling me her placeholder behind my back, was getting flirty with some guy named Corey during her work training in Charlotte, and had been asking friends if she had any claim to my house. I found it all on her laptop. Didn't say a word. Here's what I did instead. The audit. Monday morning after that weekend, Jess went back to Charlotte for training. I took a half day at work and sat down at my kitchen table with every financial document I could find. The house was clean. My name only. Mortgage, deed, insurance, all me. Jess was never on any of it. She'd pushed once about a year ago to be added to the homeowner's insurance for safety reasons, and I'd said I'd look into it. Never did. Thank God. Joint stuff was minimal. We had a shared credit card for groceries and household expenses. I was the primary card holder. She was an authorized user. Balance was usually around $800 to $1,200. I'd been paying it off monthly. There was also a streaming account bundle and a couple subscriptions in my name that she used. But here's the thing that mattered. Over 4 years, I'd been covering way more than my share. Mortgage, property tax, insurance, maintenance, most of the groceries beyond what the shared card covered, utilities. Her $600 a month covered maybe 20% of the actual cost of living in that house. I ran the real numbers, and over 4 years, I'd basically subsidized about $40,000 worth of her living expenses beyond what she contributed. She was getting a life at wholesale prices and calling me temporary while she enjoyed the discount. Dominic came over Tuesday night, brought his laptop and a notebook. We went through everything together. What's her name on? He asked. Nothing that matters. Credit card as an authorized user. That's it. Can you remove her? One phone call. He nodded. Don't do it yet. Don't change anything until she's fully committed to being gone. Let her transition herself out. That was the plan. Don't confront. Don't argue. Don't give her any reason to dig in or lawyer up or suddenly decide she wants to stay. Just let her keep moving towards Charlotte and Corey and her big career, and when she's finally out, close the door behind her. Dominic also had me screenshot everything from her laptop that weekend. The group chat, the emails with Corey, the conversation about the house, timestamps on all of it. If she ever tries to claim you kicked her out or blindsided her, you want proof that she was planning to leave the whole time. Her own words. The Charlotte thing. Jess came home on weekends during training. 3 more weekends after I found out, and I played it completely normal. Made dinner Friday nights, watched shows, talked about her training like I actually cared about office layouts and orientation schedules. She'd tell me about the new building and the people and how the regional coordinator role was exactly what she'd been working toward, and I'd nod and ask questions, and inside I was just running the clock, counting the days until she made the move herself. She mentioned Corey once, casually. We were eating breakfast Saturday morning, and she just dropped it in there. There's this guy in the program who's really sharp, Corey. He's going for a director role. She said it the way you mention a coworker you barely know, but I knew what it actually was. I just said, cool, sounds like a good group, and changed the subject. She smiled and went back to her eggs. Actually, there was this one weekend where she came home and brought me a coffee mug from some Charlotte gift shop, said she saw it and thought of me. It had a picture of a wrench on it. I said thanks, Put it in the cabinet, threw it away after she left Sunday night. Has nothing to do with anything, but I think about that mug sometimes. The gesture of it. Pretending everything was fine while she was texting her friends about how I was temporary, buying me a gift on the way out the door. That's a special kind of cold. Week 5 of training, she told me the company wanted to keep her in Charlotte full-time. Permanent position. She'd need to relocate. We were sitting on the couch, and she muted the TV and turned to face me with her legs crossed. Very rehearsed setup. I think this is the right move for me, she said. Careful, measured. And I think maybe this is a natural transition point for us too. Natural transition point. She'd been workshopping that phrase. Probably practiced it in the mirror at the Charlotte apartment. I could tell because she said it a little too smoothly, like someone delivering a line they've memorized. I didn't fight it, didn't ask her to stay, didn't get emotional, just said, "Yeah, I think you're probably right." She looked surprised, genuinely, like she'd prepared for 20 minutes of pushback and tears and got nothing. "You're okay with this? If Charlotte's where you need to be, then that's where you should go. I want what's best for both of us." She actually teared up a little. "You're such a good guy, Owen." Yeah, the good guy, the placeholder, the guy who fixes air conditioners for a living. We agreed she'd move the rest of her stuff out over the next 2 weeks while she finalized the Charlotte apartment. 2 weeks. That's all I needed. Edit. Yes, I know I was technically performing for 3 weeks. You know what else is performing? Calling someone your placeholder while you live in their house and sleep in their bed. At least my performance had an exit strategy. Natural transition point. She rehearsed that. She had a whole speech prepared, and Owen just goes, "Yeah, probably right." And she short-circuited. She was ready for tears and begging and negotiation, and instead, she got a guy who agreed with her in under 5 seconds. Which, if you think about it, should have been the first red flag for Jess. When the person you're dumping seems relieved, that's not a good sign, babe. That's a countdown. Anyway, Owen's got 2 weeks, and Dominic's got a notebook. Let's see what happens. Update 2, posted 4 weeks later. Update 2, she moved to Charlotte for her fresh start. I used those 2 weeks to erase every trace of our shared life. She had no idea what was coming. For newcomers, girlfriend called me her placeholder behind my back for months, started getting cozy with the guy during work training, then broke up with me using the phrase natural transition point. I agreed immediately. She thought I was being mature. I was being strategic. Here's what happened during those 2 weeks. Week 1, Monday after the breakup conversation. Jess was in Charlotte. I took the day off. First call, credit card company. Removed Jess as an authorized user. Took about 12 minutes. The guy on the phone asked if I wanted to report the card lost and get a new number. I said yes. Done. Second call, canceled every shared subscription. Streaming, music, the meal kit thing she'd signed us up for that I never wanted, gym membership that was in my name but she used. All of it. Canceled or transferred to individual accounts. Third, changed the Wi-Fi password. Small thing, but it meant her devices wouldn't auto-connect if she came by. Dominic laughed when I told him, "That's petty." Yeah, a little. Felt good though. Changed the locks Wednesday. Not because I was worried she'd break in, more because I wanted a clean line. Old life, new locks. Dominic helped install them. Took maybe 40 minutes. He brought pizza after, and we ate it on the deck I'd built, and he goes, "You know what I keep thinking about? She was trying to figure out if she had a claim on this house that you built, with your hands, while she watched. While she studied for her degree at the kitchen table I refinished. Right, at the table you refinished. Unbelievable." The stuff Jess had left a decent amount of things. Clothes in the closet, bathroom stuff, some books, a few kitchen items, a blender, some fancy pots her mom gave her, personal things. I boxed everything. Carefully, I'm not a monster. Labeled each box with what was in it, stacked them neatly in the garage, took photos of every single box, contents visible before closing, sealed box with label showing, time-stamped. Dominic's rule, document everything. If she says you threw her stuff away or damaged it, you've got photos proving otherwise. 12 boxes total. 4 years and her whole footprint in my house fit in 12 medium boxes. Says something, right? The note this part I thought about for a while. I didn't want to be cruel. I didn't want to be dramatic. I just wanted to be clear. Wrote it on a plain note card. Left it on the kitchen counter. The same counter where I found her laptop open, which felt right. Jess, your things are boxed and labeled in the garage. Credit card removed. Subscriptions canceled. Locks changed. You said I was temporary, comfortable, reliable, and a placeholder. You said you weren't going to be an HVAC wife forever. Fair enough. Consider the transition complete. Good luck going solo. Owen. That was it. No anger, no insults, just facts, and her own words handed back to her. The accounts. This part was important. I went through our bank records and pulled every payment I'd made toward things that were jointly used, but solely in my name. The shared credit card. I'd been paying it off every month, usually $800 to $1,200. Over 4 years, that was roughly $48,000 in charges that I'd paid down, and she'd contributed maybe $15,000 of that through her monthly payment. I wasn't planning to go after the money. That wasn't the point. The point was having the records in case she tried to claim I owed her something. Dominic's philosophy: you don't bring a knife to a fight, you bring paperwork. I also documented the house value, got a quick appraisal from a buddy in real estate, $294,000 current value. Mortgage balance, $119,000. That's $175,000 in equity. All mine, all from my work. Jess never contributed a single dollar to the mortgage or the renovations. Her name was on nothing, and her claim was on nothing. By the end of week 2, every financial thread connecting us was cut. Cleanly, professionally, with documentation. Dominic looked at the folder when I was done and nodded. That's tight. She's got nothing to grab onto. Jess comes back. She showed up on Saturday to get her stuff. Pulled into the driveway in a rental car. I was inside, but I watched from the kitchen window. Dominic had told me not to be there when she arrived, but I wanted to see it. Not in a revenge way, more like I needed to watch the door close, if that makes sense. She tried her key first, it didn't work. She tried it again, slower, like maybe she'd put it in wrong. Then she pulled it out and just stood there looking at the door for a few seconds. I could see her face, and there was this moment, confusion turning into something else. Realization, maybe. She called me. I answered. Owen, my key doesn't work. I changed the locks. What? Why? Your stuff is in the garage. Code is 4720. Everything's boxed and labeled. Silence. Then, can I come inside? I just want to talk for a minute. There's nothing of yours inside, Jess. Everything's in the garage. I watched her walk to the garage, punch in the code. The door went up and she saw the boxes. 12 of them stacked neatly. Every one labeled. She stood there for a second, just looking at them. 4 years in 12 boxes. She found the note while she was loading. I know because my phone lit up about 10 minutes later. 7 missed calls in a row. Then the texts started. Are you serious right now? You read my messages? That's a violation of my privacy, Owen. Those were private conversations. You had no right. I was venting to my friends. That's what people do. It didn't mean anything. You're blowing this way out of proportion. And then about an hour later, after it sank in, wait, you canceled the credit card? How am I supposed to pay for stuff? With your own money, Jess, the way placeholders have been doing it for you for 4 years. I didn't respond to any of it, screenshotted everything, sent it to Dominic. He read it all and just goes, the privacy argument, classic. She violated your trust for 4 years, and you're the bad guy for finding out? Edit. A lot of people asking about Corey. More on him in the final update. It's pretty good. Edit 2. For everybody saying the note was cold, yeah, it was. But you know what's colder? Calling someone your placeholder for 4 years while they build you a life. The note was honest. That's more than she ever gave me. You read my messages? That's a violation of my privacy. Ma'am, you violated this man's entire reality for 4 years. You called him temporary while sleeping in a bed he built out of reclaimed oak. You tried to figure out if you could take his house, and now you're upset about privacy? That's like robbing someone's house and then complaining they changed the locks, which actually is literally what just happened. She tried her key and it didn't work. Beautiful. Chef's kiss. All right, final update. Corey makes an appearance and it does not go well for him either. Final update posted 5 weeks after original final update. She called me her placeholder. I helped her leave. Now she's in Charlotte with nothing, and I'm doing better than ever. Last one, Reddit. Here's the ending. Jess goes public. Within a week of getting her stuff, she went full smear campaign. Social media posts, vague but obvious, about toxic men who punish you for being honest with your friends. One of her friends, Kayla, wrote something about men who can't handle a strong woman outgrowing them. Another one posted about emotional manipulation disguised as maturity. A third shared some quote graphic about how real men don't play games, which was rich coming from someone who'd been cheering Jess on while she called me temporary for months. None of them mentioned the 4 years of free housing, or the credit card I'd been paying off, or the fact that she was calling me her placeholder while I was supporting her through a degree at a kitchen table I'd refinished with my own hands. Just, poor Jess, look what Owen did. A couple mutual friends reached out to me asking what happened. I sent 3 of them, the ones I actually trusted, screenshots of the group chat. Her own words. Didn't add commentary, didn't editorialize, just the messages with timestamps. 2 of them responded within the hour. Holy, I had no idea. One of them, a guy named Vince, who I'd been friends with since high school, called me directly and said he was done with Jess entirely. She sat at your table and smiled at you while typing that stuff on her phone. That's not venting. That's something else entirely. The third person I sent it to never responded. Probably showed it to Jess. I genuinely don't care at this point. Corey. This part's funny. Or sad. Depends how you look at it. Jess moved to Charlotte full-time. Got her apartment. Started the permanent position. And she and Corey started dating, if you can call it that. It lasted about 6 weeks. Found out through a mutual friend who still followed Jess on social media. Apparently Corey was, how do I put this, a lot less impressive when you're not in a training bubble together. The director role he was going for didn't get it. Got passed over and threw a fit about it at work that apparently became office gossip for a solid 2 weeks. He was also, according to what filtered back to me, the kind of guy who talked about money constantly but never seemed to have any. Drove a leased car he couldn't really afford, rented a place that ate most of his paycheck. Big plans, big ideas, big talk, no follow-through. Sound familiar? Jess traded the guy who fixed things with his hands for the guy who talked about fixing things with his mouth. The end-game material she was looking for turned out to be a dude who couldn't close a promotion and couldn't commit to a relationship in the same month. Last I heard, Corey moved on to somebody else at the company, and Jess found out through a coworker at lunch. She posted something cryptic online about people who waste your time, which, and I cannot stress this enough, was the most ironic thing I'd ever seen on the internet. Jess, complaining about someone wasting her time, after spending 4 years wasting mine, while I was probably at home fixing my garbage disposal or something. The phone call. About 3 weeks after the Corey thing fell apart, Jess called me. First direct contact since the garage day. I almost didn't pick up, but I figured, might as well. One last conversation. Close the loop. Owen, I think I made a huge mistake. Okay? I was stressed and scared about the career stuff, and I said things I didn't mean. You were the best thing in my life, and I didn't see it until it was gone. You called me your placeholder, Jess, multiple times, over months, to multiple people. You told your friends I was the stability phase. You said you weren't going to be an HVAC wife forever. That's not stress talking. That's what you actually thought. I was insecure. I was comparing myself to my friends who were with guys in business and finance, and I felt embarrassed that my boyfriend fixed air conditioners. Silence. A long one. I didn't mean it like that. Yeah, you did, and honestly, that's fine. People are allowed to want what they want, but you don't get to come back from it. I'm not a rest stop, Jess. I'm not the guy you circle back to when the upgrade doesn't work out. She started crying. Said she'd been struggling in Charlotte. The job was harder than she expected. The apartment was expensive. She didn't know anyone outside of work. The city felt different when you weren't in a training group with built-in social stuff. She missed the house. She missed the routine. She missed the house. Not me, the house. My house. The one she was trying to figure out how to claim a piece of while calling me temporary. The one I built with my own hands while she studied for a degree at the kitchen table I refinished. I told her I wished her well and that I meant it, but that we were done. She asked if we could stay friends. I said no. Not out of anger. There just wasn't any point. You can't be friends with someone who saw you as furniture. Comfortable, functional, replaceable. Hung up. Sat on my deck for a while. It was early evening, and you could hear the neighbors' kids playing down the street, and a lawnmower somewhere, and a dog barking about 3 houses over. Just a normal, quiet evening. The kind of evening I used to share with someone who didn't think it was enough. Where I'm at house is mine. Clean, quiet. I rearranged the living room and built new floating shelves for the wall where her photos used to hang. Spent a Saturday refinishing the guest room door that had been bugging me for months. Small stuff that adds up. Got a raise at work 3 weeks ago. Lead tech. Boss said I'd been the most consistent guy on the crew, and he wanted someone reliable running the bigger commercial jobs. I told him consistency was kind of my whole thing. Dominic took me fishing last weekend. River spot about 40 minutes outside the city that his uncle showed us when we were kids. We caught nothing. Sat there for 3 hours throwing lines into brown water and pulling back empty hooks. And honestly, it was one of the best afternoons I've had in months. There's something about sitting next to somebody who doesn't need you to talk. Just being there, watching the water move. At some point he looked over and goes, "You know what the best part of all this is? You didn't have to do anything mean. You just stopped being convenient." He's right. I didn't slash tires, didn't go on social media, didn't send her messages to her employer or her family. I just stopped providing the life she was taking for granted and let the absent speak for itself. Turns out when you remove the placeholder, the whole structure falls down. Who knew? And there's someone. Her name's Ray. She's an electrician. Commercial and residential. Same as me, but different trade. Met her at a supply house about a month ago. She was arguing with the counter guy about wire gauge for a panel upgrade, and she was right and he was wrong, and I told him so. She looked at me and goes, "Finally, someone who speaks code." We grabbed coffee after, talked for an hour and a half about work, about tools, about the worst job sites we'd ever been on. She told me about growing up helping her dad do residential wiring, and how she got her license at 24, and people still ask her if she's the secretary when she shows up to job sites. She's funny, direct, doesn't take herself too seriously, but takes her work very seriously. And she's never once made me feel like what I do is less than. Because she does the same kind of work, and she knows what it's worth. She knows what it takes. Oh, one thing that still bugs me. When I was redoing the living room after Jess left, I found a photo tucked behind the bookcase. Must have slipped back there at some point and nobody noticed. Me and Jess from our first year together. Some festival we went to on a Saturday afternoon. She's laughing in it, and I've got my arm around her, and we both look, I don't know, happy. Real happy. Like two people who didn't know what was coming. I stared at it for a while, put it in a drawer, didn't throw it away. Can't really explain why. Probably never will. Anyway, house is quiet, deck looks good, got a date Friday, life's good. Edit. People asking about Ray? She saw the oak bed frame I built and asked me to teach her joinery. Third date is this weekend. I think I'm in trouble. Edit 2. Dominic update. He texted me this morning asking if I'd changed the Wi-Fi password on my new router yet. I said yes. He said good. Never give it out again. The man treats Wi-Fi passwords like state secrets. We don't deserve Dominic, but we're lucky to have him. And that's where this one ends. You know what gets me? Jess called Owen a placeholder. Comfortable, reliable, temporary. And she meant it as an insult, like those were bad things. Like the guy who pays the bills and fixes the house and builds you a bed out of reclaimed oak is somehow the boring option, the stepping stone, the thing you tolerate until something shinier comes along. And then the shinier thing turned out to be Corey, a guy who couldn't get promoted and couldn't keep a girlfriend and couldn't stop talking about money he didn't have. Funny how that works. So if you enjoyed today's story, and I very much enjoyed reading it to you, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. All the links are in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. It really does mean a lot that you spend your time here with us. So thank you again, and having said all that, I will see you in the next one. Peace.